The title of tonight's talk is Catch and Release. And I'm not talking about fishing. It's catch and release. All right? So what do I mean by that? Well, we'll spend the next few minutes talking about that. And we're going to do a little bit of work ourselves. This is going to be a very interactive meeting. So catch and release. Kind of reminds me of a story. I'm going to tell a couple of stories because all know I like telling stories, right? There's a story in the Bible about a rich young ruler. You guys know the story, right? So he comes up to he's a rich young dude, right? They're in Palestine. He probably had the best looking camel of all the people in the area. He was a stud, had the prettiest robes. I mean, think about his camel, probably painted it gold. Maybe had some gold teeth on the camel. I mean, this guy was a stud. Everybody loved this guy. He was a rich young ruler, right? He had it all. He had it all. Have you ever felt like that before? We got it. We got this. We got it. We got it. We have it all. So he felt like he had it all, but he was obviously missing something. Even though he was rich, he had all the ladies he wanted. He had a couple of harems. He had some camels. He was the talk of the town. But yet he goes to Jesus and he says, hey, what's up with this eternal life thing? Right? So even though he had it all, he'd caught it all, right? He'd caught everything he could on this planet, in this 3D world. He'd caught it all. What is up with this eternal life thing? And Jesus says, well, go and sell your stuff, and then we'll talk about it. So Jesus challenged him to release all the stuff that he caught. And he's like, that's a little much. Thank you, but I think I'll go elsewhere. Right? And the Bible says he walked away with his head down. He was a very wealthy man, and he could not give up his riches to follow Jesus, right? So think about that on a metaphysical plane. Sometimes we have belief systems about ourselves. We have thoughts about ourselves that when we get into recovery, we are challenged to release those thoughts and belief systems about ourselves. And for many years, for me personally, I said, thanks, but no thanks. I'd rather hold on to this thought that keeps me miserable. Right? I couldn't catch and release it. Right? So all of us in recovery, we have these thoughts about ourselves. We have these belief systems about ourselves. And when we get into recovery and when we begin these steps, we are challenged to release them. Right? Steph, from what I understand, talked about last week the first 3 steps, right? An awesome beginner's meeting, foundation meeting. Probably learned a lot of things about addiction and alcoholism and drug addiction that you didn't know you had, right? Pretty cool stuff. So what we kind of talk about now is we kind of talk about the reasons that we have this addiction. I know she kind of probably, the step 3 talked about the spiritual aspect, that we have a physical, mental, and spiritual issue, right? Bet you did 3 columns on the board?
Yep.
I think I know our beginner's meeting pretty well, right? So that's what she did. And so as we kind of continue in that vein of thought, as we kind of continue in our life at the movies, we have this movie in front of us, we have these belief systems in front of us, that regardless of where they may lead us, for whatever reason, we feel comfortable in these belief systems, right? Just like the rich young ruler felt comfortable with all of his riches and all the stuff that he had, but yet he still wanted more. He knew there was more out there, but he wasn't willing to give up what he had to go for that more, right? There's many times in my life that as miserable as I've been refusing to give up what I believed about myself to step into that unknown part of recovery because I was so comfortable in my misery, right? I caught it, but I couldn't release it. It reminds me of a dude at Clements, right? This dude, he was a very wealthy man in the real world. He had like 17 or 18 businesses, right? He was very wealthy, had a lot of stuff going for him, right? But he had a bit of an anger issue, right? Even though he had all this stuff, he was supposedly, he believed in Christ and was a Christian man and so forth. He had all this stuff, these businesses, I had like 100 people working for him, He's a powerful dude, right? But yet he couldn't control his anger, and he killed his wife with his bare hands. Right? Killed his wife with his bare hands. So he's in prison. And for those of you, you've heard me mention before that we have this awesome ministry in the Texas Department of Criminal Justice called field ministers. And what they do is they take dudes that have, and women, that have really long sentences, 40, 50-year sentences. And the state of Texas invests money in them, and they go to a undergraduate Bible college. And they get a 4-year degree in religion. And then what they do is after they get their degree, they put these guys out, these ladies out in different penitentiaries across the state, and they're called field ministers. And because they wear white, they can go up to another guy who's struggling wearing white and can kind of have a better rapport with them than I could about their faith. Okay? So these guys, Texas invests a lot of money in them, and they come out kind of holy rollers, for my opinion, to be honest with you, right? But we've got 8 at Clements, where I work, okay? 8 of these field ministers, and this gentleman happens to be one of them, okay? So what the field ministers are responsible for doing is they get ministry started to help guys in the cells, to help guys in Bible studies and things of that nature. So they have a lot of responsibility, right? So this gentleman has the same mentality that he had in the real world. So he treats it like a business. So he comes in and gets these programs started, right? And I challenge him on it because he's getting too many things going in the prison, and you can't have somebody working for you there in the prison. But he has these guys doing clerk work for him and stuff like that. And I try to slow him down. He goes, "Chap, I'm doing it for the Lord. I'm doing it for the Lord. I'm reaching all these guys for the Lord. I'm going behind the doors for the Lord." Right? The truth of the matter is, his ego is so big, he has this belief system about himself, because what I think is after he did this to his wife, he probably felt pretty bad about himself, right? So in order to feel bad about myself, let me go out and do a lot of good work. You ever done that before? Yeah. If I do all this good stuff, it'll help the pain of this bad stuff that I've done. So let me go out and be a superhero Christian. Let me go out and be a superhero whatever. I'm going to do all these good works, and it's going to fill this hole in my soul for what I've done bad. Right? And so I've tried to talk to this dude about that. Because, when you've been there, done that, you can kind of see it. I can kind of see it. When you talk to somebody who's in the recovery or on the vacillating about getting sober or not, you can talk to them straight on, right? Because you've been there. You're in the middle of it right now. You can help these folks, right? So we try to talk to him to slow him down a little bit. But man, he's doing it for the Lord. Kind of hard to slow somebody down doing stuff for the Lord, right? So he's literally got probably 15 different programs going on throughout the prison. The spotlight is right on him. And in prison, the last thing you want in the whole world is the spotlight to be on you. Right? Because you're going to get found out. But anyway, long story short, he got caught with a bunch of stuff. The spotlight was on him. Right? And so he gets put in jail, in prison. Gets put in the jail part, right? Which is, you don't want to go there. You single cell, if he got in trouble, got put in there, right? And so I try to talk to him. I'm like, dude, can't you see what's happening here? You got all these things going on, and, the law is coming down on you. You're in trouble here. And he's just like, "Chap, I'm just doing it for the Lord." Right? So he got caught, but he's not releasing this ego thing. Right? And so I'm talking to him, and I'm like, "Brother, he's giving me all this doing this for the Lord stuff." I said, "But have you made any mistakes here? Have you done, you're in prison, you're in the jail part of the prison. There's all kinds of repercussions going on in the chapel because of what you've done. Our chapel got shook down by the guards. I mean, a whole bunch of stuff, ugly stuff happened because of your behavior. Do you see anything you've done wrong?" He's like, "No." No, I mean, maybe, okay, yeah, I made mistakes. Okay, brother, tell me one mistake you've made. Well, I've made mistakes. Great. Tell me one mistake you've made. You couldn't do it. So he has this belief system that he's refusing to release because all of his goodness that he's trying to do is extremely selfish because all he's trying to do is cover up a pain in his heart. And it's affecting literally 3,000 men. Doesn't see it. Doesn't see it. I got a threatening letter from somebody threatening me and him, right? So I had to turn it in. He's back in the jail part of prison and still doesn't see that he's done anything wrong because, chap, everybody likes me, right? Doing, kind of hard head, right? So what kind of dude am I to sit up here and point fingers at the rich young ruler, point fingers at the dude in prison without accusing myself of the same thing? That would be very nice of me, now would it? Right? So, here's my story, right? And then we're going to work through this stuff because it may click with a little bit of your story. So think about, I'm talking about, he had this belief system, right? I'm doing all this good. It's hurting a lot of people, but I don't see it because I'm only trying to cover my heart and the pain in my heart, right? I'm doing good. The rich young ruler, got all this stuff, doing good. Can't give it up, right? You all know I'm 58 years old. I know, it's hard to believe, isn't it?
32 at the most.
I know. I know. And I had no idea how big my ego was, right? 8 years ago, got sober, did a lot of work, and la-da-da-da-da. And we kind of get the habit of, at least I kind of get the habit of thinking, well, I've done it, it's done. I'm sober, I'm done. No. The work's just beginning. Once we get sober, get the drugs and the alcohol out of the way, the drama stops. Because drugs and alcohol is full of drama, right? The drama stops. Then I get into the soul work. See why I'm doing the drinking, drug, the drama stopped, right? So, I didn't realize that I had this, bless you, I didn't realize that I had this belief system about myself until I got in pain. Isn't pain a great motivator? I'm rocking along in my life, rocking and rolling with Steph, doing good, enjoyed the job, things good, right? I didn't realize how egotistical I was. And what I mean by that is my male ego is so strong in my physical abilities. My catch is I am a man because of my strong physical abilities. I mean, I was a weightlifter. I wore medium-sized shirts so you girls could see my six-pack. You could see how big my arms were, right? See the veins coming out and think that I was a stud. I'm wearing a shirt 2 sizes too small. Right? Yeah, baby. I mean, I'm a stud muffin, right? I was a bodybuilder weightlifter. I could pick up anything and move it. I moved all the furniture in my house one time. I was going through one of my divorces. Took all the furniture out of the house, put it in the truck all by myself. I'm talking dressers, refrigerator, freezer, washer, dryer. I can move a house all by myself. I'm a strong man. The catch with this, my identity is based on my physical strength. Because I was a strong dude, right? And I didn't realize how much belief I had in that as a male until last Thursday. Right? I think it was last Thursday. I kind of saw it on the horizon. But you know how you kind of see these belief systems about yourself and kind of put it behind? That's not really true. Maybe I'm just kidding myself here. It's kind of, I'm not going to look at that, right? Anybody ever done that before? Something's put right in front of you to look at. Nope, not today. Not today. So you guys know I have a kind of a back issue, right? So I did a lot of walking, I think, last Wednesday. And I'm realizing that's not good for me, right? I get up Thursday to do my quiet time and stuff, and I'm falling. And I get into my chair. Steph wakes up. I can't hardly move, right? And I just start bawling my eyes out because in my mind, I'm not a man anymore. I'm bawling my eyes out. I'm not a man. I'm failing my wife. I'm failing my family because I'm not a man. I'm caught it, and I'm not releasing that belief system. She comes to me, tells me all these great things about myself, right? Go ahead, repeat them. Oh, what were a couple of things you said? You can remember?
Why you do this to me?
Well, it goes with the story.
I said that you being your body is not what defines you as a man. What defines you as a man is your heart, the way you give, the way that you love, the way you lead, the way that you build into us and encourage us. And I started building into all the things that I loved about you.
You know what I heard? Wah, 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 wah. She tries to tell me that, but I've caught on to that thing that I am. My physical strength makes me a man. I don't have it. So now, okay, I'm having to do something different. I'm having to step into an unknown part of my reality, an unknown part of my world. And I'm having to, ooh, wow, that was a big one. That's okay. Just a little accident. Kind of felt like doing that today myself. Yeah. All right. Huh? Yeah. So I'm having to kind of step into a part of life that's different for me. It's scary. You ever had to do that before? Somebody tell you something about yourself and have to trust them? Well, let's talk about how we can do that through the program. Okay? Because this is going to be live work. I'm going to work through this issue with you live. But you're going to be working through an issue of yourself live as well. Okay? Where in the program do we work on stuff like this? I have this feeling about myself that I'm less than, and you know what? I'm very pissed off at myself because I can't do what I've always done physically. You know, there's these 250-pound bags of salt that's been sitting in the driveway that go in the salt filter, right? And I've been wanting to pick them up and put them in the salt filter. And it's like, that's what I always do. I pick up the salt filter, right? I can't do it. I cried about it. And I had to say, let her do it, right? And she did. I'm losing my identity as a man. I'm angry. I'm angry at myself. You know who else I'm also kind of angry at? Where to get that belief system? Got it from my mama. Suck it up, boy. Suck it up. Boys don't cry. Suck it up. Right? We get those agreements. We get those, she doesn't do any harm. Do we have another one? She didn't mean any harm by saying that, right? Just suck it up. You ever said to your kid that? Just suck it up, suck it up, suck it up, right? But as a young boy, I take it in and I own that now. And that's what boys are supposed to do. Suck it up. Move on. Deal with it. Be a man. Right? I'm sorry? Yeah, suck it up, Buttercup. Right? So, I'm trying to suck it up, Buttercup, and it's not working. It's just not working. So, let's do it.
What are we doing?
We're going to do a 4-step.
On the board?
Let's do it. You ready?
Yes, I'm ready.
You're a great scribe.
That's what I am, right?
Anybody ever done a 4-step before? So y'all see where I'm angry, right? So this is how we deal with this belief system about myself. So while we're picking on me, think of something that you think about yourself that you're catching on and that you're refusing to release. Okay? We're catching and releasing. So we caught off all these belief systems, right? These things, these resentments, these fears. We've caught them, but now we have to release them. Because if I don't release it, what am I going to do?
Hold on to it.
I'm going to hold on to it. Then what am I going to do? Relapse. Because I'm going to fall into a pity party that I'm not the man that my wife married. I'm going to fall into a pity party that I can't support her. I'm going to fall into a pity party that I'm no good, that I'm worthless, I can't do what a man can do. And my default button when I go there is I got to make that pain go away. The fast way to make it go away is to drink, smoke pot, get high, something, right? And I don't have that. How's your shirt? So I don't have that luxury to hold on to that. Those of us who are true addicts and alcoholics, we don't have the luxury to catch that thought, to catch that resentment, to catch that fear, and hold on to it without releasing it. Because if we do, from my experience, 100 out of 100 times I'm going to drink or use if I don't deal with it. Okay? So, with this belief system, who am I mad at? Myself. Go ahead and stick mommy under there. Trust me, I've dealt with all my resentments toward my mom, guys. Right? We're sitting there working through this. Boom, it comes up. I learned it from her. Okay? So I'm mad at myself, right? So you guys, take a pen and piece of paper. Think about something that you've caught on to. A person, somebody you might be a little bit angry at. But particularly a belief system about yourself. I'm not a lady, so I really can't understand some beliefs that you may have about yourself. Perhaps you think you're not pretty enough, or you're not a good enough mother, or you had kids and you don't have kids.
Not enough.
Not enough.
Not enough.
Not enough. So write that down. Myself, for me, I'm not worthy to be a man. I'm not worthy to have her as my wife.
Why are you mad at your mom?
Oh, I'm mad at mom for what she, just for telling me to suck it up, Buttercup. This is really good stuff. This is how we've caught it.
They should be
In our
coming
addiction,
around.
we catch stuff. We make it all personal. We make it about ourselves. That's what we naturally do in addiction. We catch it. Now we've got to learn to release it. It's really this simple. You know, like I hear people talk about, well, it takes me a month to do my 4th step, or it takes me a step a month to do my 4th step, 3 weeks to do a week to do my 4th step. No, this, if I want relief, I have to do this today. And it's not as big a deal as what the recovery groups make it out to be. Because and this is just a way to think. All I'm doing is remembering the 3rd step. What did I do? I turned my will and my life over to the care of God, right? I turned my thinking and my actions over to the care of God. This is how I turn my thinking over to God. This is how I do that. Because that's how do I turn my will and my life over to the care of God? Oh my God, I just prayed this prayer. How do I do it? This is how we do it. This is how we do it. Da, 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 da. This is how we do it. I'm not going to dance for you. I'm not going to sing for you either. So, but this is how we do it. This is how we turn our will and our life over to the care of God. This is how when we catch it, this is how we release it. Okay? Mad at myself because this belief system I had, I'm not enough, I'm not worthy. Right? So, it affects a part of my personality, or I wouldn't be having this feeling, right? So what part of my personality, those of you who have the sheet, what is self-esteem? How I think about myself. What I think about myself, boom, not worthy. What's another part on there? Security. Does it affect my security as a man?
Yeah.
Absolutely, because I'm not worthy. What else?
It affects your ambition.
My ambitions. Am I really excited to get up in the morning and go to work if I'm not worthy about anything? So it's clicking my ambitions. My personal relationships. What's the difference between self-esteem and pride? Self-esteem is what I'm thinking about myself. Pride is how you think it, what I think you think of me. This pretty clicks 360 degrees around Tolbert's personality, doesn't it? I mean, it's hit me from all sides. Just not being worthy and so forth, right? Just not being a man. Because I can't pick up a 50-pound bag of salt. Pretty silly, isn't it? Man, I sure have drink over less. Suck it up, buttercup. Pretty much affects almost these same things for me, right? So I have to release this. Okay? We've caught it. We all caught it. We all got something that we're holding on to. You've written it down. You can see yourself, whatever. You write it down. Talk about the different parts of you that it affects and get real. Get honest. Okay? Now, the way that I release it is I've gotten honest with myself. I see where this is coming from. I'm mad at myself, my mom. Now, let's release this. Help me, sponsor.
In the big book, it says we disregard all this entirely, as if none of this even happened. Okay? So for this purpose, for a purpose of doing a fifth step, for the purpose of getting to where he wants to go, he's going to have to release all of this. He's going to have to set it aside. Does it mean it didn't happen? No. Does it mean he's not going to still go through this? Does it mean that mom said this stuff, right? And it matters. But for this particular tool to work, he's got to set that aside. So setting aside, we're going to start with mom because it's a little bit easier. Coming to myself, everybody has themselves on their 4-step, right? Everybody. I always save it for last because it's the home run. So if we looked at his mom and we set aside what she did, and even though she caused all these things, and parents will do that, they're meant to build up our self-esteem and give us security and all of that, right? However, at some point, he's got to take that responsibility on. So it says in the 5th step that we set, or in the 4th step, that we set it all aside entirely and we look at where are we to blame. Where is he to blame for his mom telling him to suck it up? He's not. He's not to blame for his mother telling him that. What he is to blame for is what he's done with it. Okay? Because what he's done with it, just like he said, is he hasn't released it. He hasn't grown up and set that aside. He's held on to it as if his life depends on it. Right? So what I would say is, where is it selfish to have this resentment with mom?
Because I still placed my identity as a man in what she told me as a child. I'm placing how many, my's am I using? I identify as a man, by the way. I'm a he.
It's a deal breaker if you don't.
I'm identify as a man. It's saying I identify as a man. So me and my belief systems, what she told me, I got to suck it up. I'm still holding on to that. Now, 58 years old. She probably told it to me 54 years ago. I hadn't forgot it.
Well, let me ask you that same question a little different. Who are you thinking about when you're thinking about this resentment?
Me.
Who do you think about when you play that resentment over and over in your head?
How it affects you.
How I'm affected, what she did to me, how she did it, right?
Can't believe she said that to me.
Right? How many years has that played over and over in your head?
About 54.
It's a long time, right? It's a long time to hold on to that. Where is it dishonest to have this resentment?
Because she might not have even said that exact thing. Because after 54 years with the resentment, I could have built it up pretty big. She might have said, "Oh, honey, I'm sorry, excuse me, please don't cry." But I built it up, suck it up, buttercup, after 54 years, right? So I'm being dishonest there, okay? I'm being dishonest with myself because I don't identify as a man by that statement that I heard at 4 years old. So I'm lying to who? Me. It's a lie. And I am acting my life out today on a lie. How many of us are doing that, acting out our life today on a lie that we are telling ourselves? That's being very dishonest.
And we're going to expand a little bit more. We're going to dig a little deeper.
Damn.
So mom was meant to build him up as a child, right? Our parents are meant to build us up. So this is always a caveat that I tell people when I'm doing a 5th step with them. They were supposed to. When he was a kid, mom was supposed to build into him, help him with his identity and who he is and who he's supposed to be. Mom was supposed to do that. However, when he became an adult, whose responsibility did it become? His. Did he have a choice to hold on to this belief? He did. However, he was completely unaware of it, right?
Correct.
That's why we talk about in here all the time, awareness, awareness, awareness. It's a key that's going to unlock that door. So now that he's become aware of it, now it's his responsibility to do something about it, which is what he's doing, right? He's saying, okay, this doesn't feel good. I don't want to be here anymore. I want to do something different. So I'm going to take responsibility for it instead of putting that off on my mom. Make sense?
You know how freeing that is?
Where is it self-seeking to have this resentment?
Because I'm only thinking about myself. And I'm using that to be a pity party. I'm not a man anymore. Walk around pouting. Not that I do that. She'll tell you I never pout. In a pity party, walking around pouting and things like that. Totally thinking about myself.
I guess I'm very grumpy. Where's the fear in this resentment?
Oh! Now she's done gone to meddling. Gone from preaching to meddling now. That's the issue to all of this, is the fear. And the fear is I'm not good enough as I am. It's a big fear, isn't it? I'm not good enough as I am. Is that true or false?
False.
Who said true? Right. Whoever said true, put them up on the board. I got a resentment now. I got to start this all over. Because then I will go out and try to pick up that 50-pound bag of salt because I'm afraid I'm not a man. I'm going to show her that I'm a man. I'm going to pick up that 50-pound bag of salt.
You're going to hurt it
Even worse. What dudes do, right? What is my, okay, so I have this fear. So, and I also have to recognize, right? I also have to recognize that if I'm from the same Spirit of God, the same Holy Spirit from God, right? That we're one, our souls are connected, right? We're one. How can I be out of love? That's my ego. That's the devil. That's me separating myself, trying to separate the wind, separating myself. Yeah, God, you got this all together, except I can't pick up a pound of salt, so you don't love me. So I can't love myself. Correct.
We only have 5 minutes, so let's get through this. Yourself, setting aside everything. Where is it selfish to have a resentment with yourself?
Where is it selfish to have resentment to myself? Because it's holding me back. It's holding me in confinement. It's making me feel less than. It's making me go out and outside of myself to prove my worth and do some not so smart things as a man to prove my worth around the house.
Self-seeking. Who are you thinking about in the resentment?
Only me.
Himself.
Thinking about myself, trying to prove
Where
myself.
is it dishonest?
Because it's not true.
What is true?
What is true is the things that you said, which I can't remember. The things that you said, and the truth is I'm okay in my own skin just as I am.
And what's the fear?
The fear is that I'm not. But the truth is that I am. So what I've been saying today in preparing for this is there's a mantra. I love and approve myself. I love and approve myself. I love and approve myself. So when I have slipped into self-pity or whatever, less than, I love and approve myself. The 7th step prayer, when we get through this part, right? We ask God, this is a character defect, right? Because I've thought about this so much. A thought becomes a feeling, then it becomes a belief, right? A thought over and over again becomes a belief. A belief manifested becomes a character trait. A belief manifested becomes a character trait. So this has been a part of my character. It's a part of the foundational element of who Tolbert believes he is as a man. You guys have just ripped that out. Thank you very much. A character defect has just been removed from my life. Thank you very much. Yay, God. So the 7th step prayer says, remove from me the good with bad. Let me get it right here. Every single defect of character which stands in the way of my usefulness to you and my fellows. Another way to say it is I love and approve myself. Another way to say it is take my life, my actions, and my thinking, God. See how it all just kind of saying the same thing over and over again. But the bottom line is I have to release these lies, these thoughts about myself, recognize that my light is the same light, the light in my soul is the same light that lights this whole universe. Right? I'm either God's kid or I'm not. God either is or he isn't. There's no kinda. There's no kinda love. There's no kinda connection. I'm either connected or I'm not. And if I'm not, that's on me, and that's a lie I'm telling myself. You ladies have helped me realize that tonight. Thank you very much. And I mean that sincerely. So I hope you've taken that with yourself. Was that very difficult to do? For those of you who've been afraid of doing your third and fourth step and fifth step, is it that? Hopefully we've simplified it a little bit for you. It's really not that difficult, but it's life-changing because this character defect that I've had about myself is in the process of being released. So I will listen to her when she says that she loves me as I am and allow that to land. Imagine somebody saying they love you just as you are and it landing. And so we all have that light. We all have that connection with every one of us in this room. We all have it, okay? Just got to be careful with this right here. Real quick, I think somebody had a 1-year birthday this week, didn't they?
Shorty!
Congratulations. Y'all take that work, go home and mull it over, talk to your sponsors about it, talk to Stephanie about it, but really, there's no time like the present about getting this done. You guys are awesome. Thank you very much. I appreciate your patience with me. Let's circle it up.